Hey folks, it's that time again. It's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 41. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. And before we get started, thank you to all the veterans out there. As we record this, it is the day that we observe Veterans Day here in the United States of America. Yesterday was the actual Veterans Day. Today is Veterans Day. So if you are a veteran, either active duty or not, thank you for your service. And on with our scheduled show. On the show with me is Mr. Troy Miller, who is going to share some of his nitpicking opinions about the latest submissions to the TWiP Pro community. What's going on, man?
Yes. Oh, you know, just hanging in there, enjoying the weather change. So I like it. It's getting a little cooler now. I like it getting closer to beanie weather. Next time I'll probably have a beanie. So.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have a beanie on. What is happening?
No, it's still warm in here. It's still warm.
All right. Well, the second order of important business is you are down in Southern California, which is in a lot of Southern California is dealing with forest fires and wildfires right now. Are you safe? Everything good where you are?
I am. Yeah, I have not seen them. I have not seen the smoke to where, you know, there's tons of wind. So that's been blowing smoke around and stuff. Yeah. But you're near some fires too.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Both ends of the country, the state is on fire.
Yeah, this
it's not our fault. We didn't do it.
It is not. It is not. Yeah, we were out yesterday running around and there's just like this, you know, normally we have blue skies in California, as you know. It was just like this blue-orange gradient instead of blue, right? And you could just smell it. Here where we are, it wasn't too bad, you know, the smell, but you could still smell like something burning. So it's, you know, stuff's moving around. It's crazy. I want to see a satellite shot. Have you seen a satellite shot of California just to kind of get a feel for where everything is and the smoke patterns and all that?
No, most of our fires in the south are down towards San Diego, and there's a small mountain range, if you will, between the two of us. And a lot of times that weather doesn't come up here. Yeah, so I could see the haze off in the distance, but no.
Craziness. If it's not one thing, it's another.
Yes, I know.
It was literally, I was on the phone with someone earlier and we were talking about, not to digress too much, we'll get into the critique in a second, folks. But we were talking about how, like, you just can't get a break with the news, right? It's either something political or it's some shooting or it's this or it's, you know, fires. Is just on and on. Just makes you want to unplug, like some people I know do, unplug from the news. Yeah, but let's
healthier.
What's that?
It's healthier for me. Unplug.
Yeah, I know. I'm losing hair because of it. So no comment, Troy Miller. All right, cool, man. Are you ready to dive into today's critique?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'm looking at TWiP Pro Photo Critique topic. Lots of stuff to look at today. The first one, it looks like it's from Matthew Feist. And let's bring this up. Matthew Feist is a new member. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, welcome, Matthew.
Yeah, so look at this shot.
That's cool. That's very cool.
I love black and white processing. You know, these kind of shots remind me of like sitting in a dark room trying to get it right. Right.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe if I burn these bricks on the right side down a little bit and dodge the face on the subject a little bit, and, you know, and then like $60 later in paper and processing, and you know, you finally get something that's halfway close to what you wanted, but you've given up. So you're like, okay, this is it. But it looks like he nailed it with his processing on this. I love my eye, and why I say that is my eye instantly goes to the child's face. Right, because it's you know, one of the brightest parts of the image. So our bodies automatically look for faces in scenes. You know, so you got a face that is brighter than the surrounding areas, and it's a face. So you're gonna look towards it. What did you think of this shot?
No, I really love the candid nature of this. I mean, immediately my brain goes to all the little things on the ground. I want to clone all those little white spots out to kind of clean that up, and
Yeah,
the handle in the background. I mean, that's just the OCD in me. You know, that's just the way that I think. But with that said, I mean, this is a very candid moment, which I think is brilliant. I love the child's hands, the tilt of the head, the face, like you said, the brightest spot is his face, so we can draw our eyes to there. Yeah. I would probably just crop this a little bit tighter. I think a little more space off the right, leaves half the wall, and maybe crop right down to that top indent in the panel on the garage door. So we're much tighter in. We don't need all that space on the right. But I mean, as it is, it's handled fantastically well, and it tells such a wonderful story. So. Yeah. And that's what these images are all about, right? Telling us a story, the viewer that doesn't know, this family, so to speak.
Yeah. And it's black and white. I mean, in the, we talk and joke a lot about black and white and your addiction to it, but it remains true that if the color in the image does not add to the story or the subject of the image, try it without color. And when I saw this one, I was thinking, if that minivan or truck or whatever on the left there was red, then that would have completely taken away from this image, because you'd be drawn into the red of that truck, right? Or if the garage door back there was some kind of color that would draw your attention to it. By taking all that out of there, you draw attention directly to the subject. Not to mention that he's kind of using leading lines here, with the lines of the truck and the lines of the wall, kind of all converging on the subject in the middle. So yeah.
Yep.
Not bad.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome. No, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, cool. Thank you,
job.
Mr. Matthew Feist, your first submission. And again, welcome to the community, man. It's good to have you. All right. Warren Lewis, also a new member. And Warren says, if I may, I'd like to add other photos for consideration. This photo I took in Honolulu with a Canon 5D Mark II. Someone from Honolulu, Kyle Nishioka, has some competition out there on the island. Look at this, man.
Which one did you go to? Oh, you're looking at the graphic one?
Yeah.
The black and white? Okay. Yeah, there's one before that in as a comment. I think he added as a comment.
Oh, I skipped over that because it looked like a comment. Okay, I'll go to that one next.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, geometry.
I got nothing on that. I mean, I'm like, I want this to be in my library.
Yeah. And look at the diagonal lines in there that are kind of cut through. It looks like those may have been like power lines or something that he used as part of the composition. It's got to be, because they're on a different axis than those shapes in the background.
Yeah, they're not part of the building, are they?
No. I think they look like they're either power lines or something, or clotheslines or something that was in the foreground, but they're perfect for this composition. So I got nothing either. This is cool.
I would probably crop down from the top just enough to get rid of that textured triangle at the top.
Oh, okay. I see right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have a little bit of white, and then you'd have that horizontal black line, and that would get rid of some of that shadow up at the top that doesn't go anywhere. And I think that would drive our focus down into the diagonal and the horizontal and the triangles and stuff more than what's up there. I don't think we need that up there. But God, what a cool shot! What a great eye to capture that.
And that area up at the top doesn't really bother me, actually, because I don't mind it, because it makes I see dimension in there, right? Because it's kind of showing me that there's depth in that shadow area, and this isn't just a bunch of graphic pieces stuck together. But I see what you're saying. It's it definitely it will survive that can it be printed on the wall test, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Got to get that dust spot that's right in the center, right along. There's like 3 dust spots in there.
Yep, I see it right there. There's a nit. Yeah, we got to pull out our nitpicking selves.
When you get an image this clean already.
Yeah, right. It needs to be. Might as well make it perfect, right?
We start looking. We start seeing dust spots.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, and this was Warren Lewis. Welcome, Warren. Here's another one from Warren Lewis. Let's take a look at this one. All right. Well, let me read this caption real quick because it says captured during a photo shoot. Light source was spinning steel wool that had been set on fire. Yeah, you know what? That was all the rage here in California a couple of years ago, or maybe a year or so ago. Until down in Southern California, somebody set a shipwreck, a historic shipwreck, on fire. You remember that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
That was sad, you know. But you know,
yeah.
Fire. And you're the pyromaniac of the group here, right? And you practice safe burning though, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah, your goal is to practice safe burning. Absolutely, yeah, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. Well, it's fire. It's. And I was reading your bio the other day, and part of your bio is you like fire because it's unpredictable, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's hard to photograph. Yeah,
beautiful, unpredictable, and hard to photograph. You will never take the same shot of fire twice. Right?
Probably not. No.
So speaking of that, what do you think of this one? Yeah, when I first saw this one, I thought of Thor spinning his hammer around.
Yeah. You know, it's really cool. I'm trying to see. There's definitely, it looks to me, it doesn't look like this is steel wool, but I can't. I mean, he said it's steel wool, but normally steel wool you get sparks. This looks like a glow stick, so I'm not really seeing the spark effect. So we have this neat streak. You know, maybe didn't do it long enough. It also looks like the image was pushed really far. It's really noisy, and there's like some dodging and burning was done, like in the debris area there. So those type of things I feel are distracting. You know, the bright light in the foreground, like if that maybe a reflection is too bright. It's really
your attention down to that sort of red reflections before you look up to where it's making those reflections.
Yeah, I mean, I love the shot. I mean, if you cropped above that red reflection on the bottom, I think you'd have much better composition. You wouldn't have a horizon line dead center, and I think it would tell a better story right away. I mean, I love the concept of the shot. I love, the stroke that's there. It looks like there was maybe the red light underneath them was either added, maybe had a strobe, or it was just a glow of the steel wool that he's spinning. But I love the concept. I just think we have some noise and some compositional tweaks that could be made.
Yeah. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done like spinning steel wool?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was done so many times that I didn't see a need to do it.
Yeah. You're like, what can I add to the conversation? Yeah. I mean, that's part of the issue I have with a lot of genres of photography, or even landscape photography for me. It's like, okay, what can I bring to the party that is not already, a dish that someone already has on the table here? Yeah.
Right. And the same thing goes for a location. If you go to a location and you're just seeking out tripod holes, somebody else has stood there before you. How are you going to shoot that differently than what somebody maybe would just take a snapshot, or somebody has photographed it before? How would you do it different?
Yeah.
And so, certainly there's some creative ideas that I haven't seen yet with steel wool. I haven't thought of them. But I've just never been motivated to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because like looking at spicyjello.com, you've got lots of hot stuff on there, right? So
I like stuff that blows up.
There you go. But you like to catch it in mid blowage, right? So.
Yes. And here's the thing about the reason that I like that so much is that if you go out there and you spin steel wool, I can stand here and look at it and I see what you photographed. Right. But if you take a picture of an explosion, you can't really see it. I'm stopping time.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the mystery of that, is I'm trying to capture something that you can't actually see. So,
that's interesting. It's interesting you say that. It almost sounds like a setup, because on December 1st in Avon, Ohio at Pixel Connection, I will be giving a talk called Time Travel for Photography, Stopping Space and Time with Your Camera. And that's one of the premises of the talk, is your camera as a time machine to do things that you can't do and see things that you can't see with your normal eye.
Right. I mean, and everybody's familiar with, doing the silky smooth waterfalls and streams. You don't see that with your eye.
No.
You have to do a long exposure. Then there's this wonderment. So that's kind of what I'm after. The things that you can't see.
I love that. Yeah, we're in the same boat. See, that's why we're brothers from other mothers. So. All right, cool, man. Thank you, Warren Luz, for that shot. Thank you, and welcome to the community. Lots of new members. I love this.
Yeah, it's great.
Thing has a life of its own. All right, here's another one from Warren. He says, aloha, I've been working on some photos and wanted to upload a few for the... Okay, so we're, just FYI, folks, we're going in reverse order. So because of the way Mighty Networks works, I would like to start from the beginning and work chronologically to the most recent submitted. But it requires you to like reload the page every time in order to get to that one. It's easier just to step down, which is what we're doing.
Right.
Okay, this is in the Sierra Nevadas from Warren Luz. Bring that up. Look at that. When I saw this initially, you know what I thought? I thought of Craig Colvin. So Craig Colvin would do a shot like this, but it'd be, you know, I mean, this, I can't really tell the exact size of this, but it looks, you know, this is probably wood or a tree, but Craig Colvin would put a nude body in there somewhere, you know, kind of.
If that was a canyon.
Yeah, if this was a canyon or sand dunes or something, you know, or a rock formation, you would have a body in there, a live body, but in there, kind of interwoven inside the crevices. But I like this. I like the diagonal of this. I know you're going to say you probably would have cropped off the black in the upper left because that's not really adding to anything, and maybe down in the lower right because it's a little soft in the lower right. Maybe just go in a little bit tighter and increase the kind of where is this abstractness of the gnarled wood. And I agree. I like the processing of this. I like the highlights, the delta between the highlights and the shadows. I think it's really clean. And in black and white, it's easy to muddy that up. You know, in some shots you'll see it's just the whites aren't. I mean, you don't want the whites to be overexposed, and you don't want the blacks to be crushed down so that there's no data there. And so that's kind of the trick to doing black and white. What did you think of this?
No, I totally agree. The black trap in the top left is distracting to me, and I think that I would pull that out. And then just some dodging in the lower right hand quadrant. I think it's a little bit too hot down there. I think you want to keep your focus more in the center of the frame, so just some dodging and burning around the edge. I do love that this image is presented though, that there's a presentation. He's got a little mat around it like he did on his other one. I think that adds a lot to the visual beauty of the image, you know, being able to see it that way. And these abstracts are really cool. So, and if you look really close at the bottom center of the frame, you can see there's a date or a number carved into the tree. And I love that you can see that detail in there.
Oh yeah.
Although it's graffiti technically, that would bum me out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Look at you zooming in.
I'm not zooming. I got my glasses on.
Oh yeah. I need to get some of those. Either that or LASIK or something. I like it. Cool. Another one of those that would survive the test of printing big and putting on a wall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Abstract.
Yeah. Right. These harken back to like Ansel Adams and you know the beautiful continuous tones of the black and whites, you know, and if you've heard Ansel Adams' names, but you've never followed into his zone system, it's still relevant today, you know, to understand that there's pure black and pure white and all the zones in between. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So do you recommend that people sort of dive into the Ansel Adams methodology and the zone system and all that, or should they just put the camera on auto or intelligent auto and go for it?
That's kind of a loaded question because you know the answer to that.
I'm setting you up. This is T-ball, man. I'm being nice.
I know. No, I do. I think that you absolutely should be looking at what Ansel Adams did and the way that he worked and the way that he looked at light and tones and patterns and shapes. It's very relevant today. You know, he felt that a print could have 12 tonal ranges within that image. Like we probably have 16 to 18 now that we could squeeze out of an image, especially with our modern digital gear. So the concept is still the same. You know, you shoot so that you understand what your printing is going to be, and then you get the best out of the two.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's worth looking at.
Yeah, it reminds me, I did an interview many years ago with Michael Adams, who's Ansel Adams' son, and down in Carmel by the Sea, California. And so I was literally at Ansel Adams' house. I saw the dark room and, all that. It's like being on a hallowed ground, seriously.
Wow.
And one of the questions I asked Michael, or Mr. Adams, in the interview was, and it was weird because he's like of photographic royalty lineage. And then also Michael Adams, turns out he was a flight surgeon in the military as well. So he's like, an officer in the military and also the son of Ansel Adams. So there was like 2 levels of I'm not worthiness going on.
Wow.
But one of the questions I asked him about his dad was, if he was around today, looking at the capabilities that we have with Lightroom and, back then Capture One wasn't a thing, but Lightroom back then and digital cameras and distribution of the imagery on using the internet and all that stuff, would he like it or would he think it heresy? A real print is darkroom based, dodging and burning. I held his dodge tool, by the way.
Oh man.
Yeah, I totally did. And I have photos to prove it. But Michael said that his dad most likely would have wholeheartedly embraced digital. That today, it wasn't about the process, it was about the final result. If he didn't have to go to Yosemite and camp out in that truck, waiting on the shot and lug out the giant view camera and all that stuff, wasn't flogging himself. He was doing it for the image, right? So,
right, because that was the tool, that was the gear that you needed to capture the image that he pre-visualized to get at that time.
To get the shot, yeah. So
That's
today
right.
he'd be out there probably with either a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, having the time of his life, which we can do. So, yeah, and who knows what people will be saying 30 years from now? What will they have? Provided the planet's still around. All right. So moving right along. All right. So Michael Counts. Hey, Michael. Michael has a shot in here. Life is like a beef sandwich. The more bread you have, the less, crap you have to eat. Tom McCullum. I don't know if this was his quote, but I like it. Yes. I like that quote too. And he says, hope all of our vets had a good day. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
This one did. This one had a good day yesterday. So.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like Michael's really delving into this, a part of his art and, photographing the homeless down there and kind of getting to know them and work with them. And this is a really amazing image because you're making eye contact with this guy.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And you could just think a million different thoughts of what he's thinking at that moment. Is he annoyed and he wants you to go away?
Mm-hmm.
Is he deciding if he likes you or not?
Yeah.
The image gets out of the way of the story. And there's not a lot of distracting elements. Well, there's really no distracting elements. Maybe those horizontal lines, those white lines in the back, we could call them distracting. But the idea is that this image conveys something very powerful, and there's not anything in there that's drawing my attention away. It's all on this guy's face and his eyes, and you're just like you're really just stuck there, which I think is amazing. Well done.
I see faces like this and I just think like the stories that this guy has got to be able to tell, notwithstanding being a veteran, just being as old as he is, who knows how old he is, but it's just the experience lines on his face are just telling. It's like, wow, you've been through a lot. And the expression of just, it's a powerful image. It is a powerful.
Yeah, no, it's very well done. It's a wonderful portrait. I like the shallow depth of field, and all those are elements that brings his face forward. So
look how shallow that depth of field is. Like his eyes are tack sharp, but his ears are out of focus. Right.
Right. The very tip of the bill of the hat is out of focus, but you can read that the Air Force veterans on there. You can read his pin. His eyes are sharp. These have all those elements that are so important in a portrait or any image. That keeps us in the center, keeps us looking at your subject, focuses where it needs to be, create depth.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to the Michael.
Yep, very cool, awesome. And perfect submission for Veterans Day. Love it.
Yeah. I hope he enters that one in competition.
Oh. Well, Michael, if you're listening, you heard that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Armando Bruck. This one was taken Sao Paulo Zombie Walk last week. Edited in Lightroom with a D8. He shot it with a D800 with 85 mil on it. Look at the colors. See, this is like going from hot to cold, going from like the high contrasty black and white to this sort of oversaturated, you know, bright feel colors of this image. And again, with the eyes, right? Look at her eyes. Your eyes go straight to her, or my eyes go straight to her eyes in this shot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm really looking around the image a lot. I really dig that. That's good. Her eyes are tack sharp, which is perfect. That's what we want. I like how he's not, you know, I think we could probably crop a little bit off the left. I don't think we need that extra space there. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, and you know, you tell me what you see on your side, but on the zombie, it looks like some post-production artwork, like drawing some marks on his face and stuff. I didn't get that. I was thinking more,
it looks like he pushed it almost to the edge of pushing it in terms of the saturation. So it's starting to look, if you push it any further, it's, you know, move into that sort of solarized category.
Yeah, there definitely is that. I think it's like the little mark on his camera right, his left temple, you know, those kind of drawings. To me, it felt like it was added in post. It doesn't follow the depth of the face. It feels wrong to me.
It feels like it was added later. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it wasn't added later, that's fine. But just be aware that if, you know, even an element that might be actually in the photograph that way, if it doesn't look right, that can confuse the viewer. Mm-hmm. You know, because you're trying to tell a particular story. But other than that, I just wish that we could burn down her hand so that it was not as bright. Mm-hmm. You know, it's competing with her face. Mm-hmm. But what a great story. I love the proximity of their faces, you know, the heavy saturation of color.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely pops out. But I agree with you on the side of the frame, cropping that a little bit to more center both of them in the frame. And, you know, what is that giving us on the left side of the frame there, right?
Right.
If it's not in service of the story or the image, what do you do with it?
Make it black and white. Oh, no, you crop it out.
See that knee-jerk reaction, ladies and gentlemen? You see that? I love it. All right, here's one from Zach Muddyman. He's apologizing for being gone, and he's working on some new techniques. And he says, what did he say? Blah, 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 green screen in studio, common setups using only one light. Love it. All right, let's take a look at this one. Interesting, on a green screen. I should play with that. I could take that into Photoshop or Final Cut Pro and put something behind her.
Yeah, no kidding. No, this is great. What a great model and an outfit, and I love the tattoos. That's really cool.
Yeah. The gorgeous model.
Yeah, that always helps. It always helps to have a good model in there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, this is an image that I think speaks a lot to quality of light. The light feels flat to me, and this is the kind of image that, you know, scrimming the light, you know, scraping it across her, moving her away from the background, and getting the light behind her off on camera right a little bit, creating some more of a short light type effect would lend itself to this, because she's not looking at the camera, so she's looking off, and we could do with some more drama in there. Now, you could do a lot with dodging and burning in here, though, like burning down her left elbow and her chest and her neck, brightening up her face, bring all that together. But I love that there's no appendages missing. None of them are cut off much. Yeah. Inappropriately.
Yeah. Tim Engel. Are you listening to me?
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't mention Tim at all.
Tim knows what he's doing. He can take it.
I know he does.
He can take it. Yeah. Well, cool shot. Yeah. I don't have much to add to that on this shot. This is, this is cool. I like the, you know, when I look at shots like this, I wonder what she would look like if her head was just turned a little bit more towards the camera and looking in the lens. a little bit, but that's, artistic and subjective. But,
right. And poses like this, when you're setting this up, it's a studio setup, so you have full control. Step in there and pull that hair from her left side, pull that back. And then if you're almost gonna do a full profile, then commit to that profile, because having her eyelashes sticking out above the ridge of her nose isn't as clean as it could be. I mean, this would be a perfect profile shot. Turn her head a little more left, lift her chin so the mask of her face is free within that triangle of her arm. Pull that hair back. It's just little things like that just can really make an image.
But it's also mastering the art of knowing. You see, people need a Troy Miller sitting on their shoulder when they're doing this kind of stuff. Once you create an app, man, where you can just show it the scene and have some AI version of you pop up and say, "Well, try your head a little bit."
Right. That's it. A
little Max Headroom action there.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, Zach. Thank you, sir.
We'll do that when we do our live event.
Right. Yeah, you should do that. There you go. All right, Craig Stampley in the house here.
Yeah,
by the way, Craig Stampley was our winner of the pets competition, and he opted not to receive the kangaroo scrotum as his prize, and instead got a gift card. So thank you.
Probably not a bad choice.
It all depends on what your goals are, man. Come on. Oh, man.
That just means we have one more to give away. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. I'm not gonna say anything more about that because there's so many jokes.
Yeah.
All right, so he says pool season is open. A quick test of his youngest son on the weekend, making sure everything's proper order before I have a bride in her dress jumping in the pool on Monday, which is today.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, see, they're going into summer as we go into winter. So yeah, they're gonna have some nice. So we'll be seeing all these nice summery images from Craig, probably
these bragging shots of like, we have great weather and you don't right now.
Yeah.
They're also not on fire, to my knowledge, right? So.
Oh yeah, no, probably not. Not yet.
But that's so cool. I want to try some of these underwater shots, man. These are just. I would imagine ridiculously much harder than they look, right? To pull up something like this. I mean, I did an interview with Craig and Craig Colvin and Craig Stampley. And they're both have some experience in shooting underwater photography, obviously. And the main takeaway I took from that is it is not easy to do this, especially with lighting, because historically electricity and conductors like water don't get along well. So,
right.
And then you introduce humans into the mix that don't like to, die.
Electrocuted.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. But cool. So, compositional exposure, concept-wise, what do you think of this shot?
Yeah, I think we could trim it up a little bit, from the bottom and the sides, get him more dead center. I think that this is an image that would look fantastic, just in your face, dead center, big. Yeah. That awesome grin, and he's got like the bubbles in his nose, and that's fantastic. I love the pairing of the red T-shirt and sort of the turquoise background through the water. So, it's great. The smile, his eyes are open. He's looking at you. I mean, this is awesome.
It's missing one thing though, man. It's missing one thing.
A dolphin?
No, it's missing a fish hook with a dollar bill in it. Please tell me you know the reference. Please do.
Yeah.
Thank you. For those that don't know the reference, that is a reference to one of the Nirvana CD covers from back in the day.
Well, yeah. What else was on that cover?
What else was on the cover? What? It was a baby. It was a baby.
Yeah, naked baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was a naked baby. It was a naked baby with a fish hook with a dollar in there. Yeah. Smells Like Teen Spirit was on that disc. Remember that?
Ew.
Yeah. I do. Played that about 950 million times.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. But awesome shot, Greg.
Yeah, good work, man. Yeah, I want to see share the bride shot, the final bride shot, if you could. I would love to see what that looks like.
I've never gotten brides to jump in my pool, so.
And you have a pool. You have a fantastic pool. How come you don't try that?
I don't have an underwater housing, and I don't have an underwater camera, so I've just never done it. And my pool's black. So could be cool.
It could
nice
be
and
really
dark
cool.
background. Yeah.
All right, there's my note from yesterday. James Glennie has this giant, abominable monster on here. He said, this one is for Troy Miller with his comment in last week's critique. You definitely want to get down to on the same level with squirrels. This is one of the many mildly terrifying specimens running around Toronto. Some of them have cute little mustaches like this one, shot with a Canon.
That is awesome.
Look at that. Look at that little Groucho. Wait, let's read that. Look at the Groucho. He just needs a little cigar.
I know.
That is killer.
This is great.
And that's tough to capture because these squirrels, I mean, squirrels, they move at the speed of light, right? Literally. And they're these guys getting a shot just like this. He shot it with a 200 millimeter, so he was relative distance away. But that squirrel looks like he's looking dead at the camera. Oh,
yeah, it probably is. Probably waiting for you to throw a treat. And they got a microsecond to wait to see if you're going to give them food. If not, they're gone. Yeah. Like I have an engagement session today at a park and there's tons of squirrels there and they literally come out, they look at you. Nope, you're not going to feed me. And they're gone.
Yeah. I wonder, like in the squirrels world with their high metabolism, like a second is probably like 20 minutes. So it's like I waited 20 minutes for this guy to drop some food and he didn't drop it. Yeah, so I was on to the next thing.
Yeah. This is fantastic. I mean, I think the only thing that I would add to this is let's maybe crop it in a little bit tighter. That the whole right side is just open. We could crop that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And bring the exposure down just a tad, because if he's dark, I mean, if it's a very, very dark fur, and I don't really know, but I'm assuming that we could bring it down. Looks like maybe there was a flash or a reflection in his face. Mm-hmm. That's opening up the shadows a little bit. But I just love the dead straight stare.
Yeah, he's like looking into your soul there. Yeah, and this looks like it could be used in a double truck or a print. Or like a magazine or something with copy down the right side, like the secret lives of squirrels, like,
that's right. James Glennie's Book of Squirrels.
Yeah, I can hear Richard, was it Attenborough? I can hear his voice now.
Oh yeah.
This mustached squirrel is known for staring at 200 millimeter lenses. Oh, I dig it. I know I do a bad Attenborough. So.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. But
that's why I diffused that bomb and said it myself. All right, cool. All right, James Glennie, thank you. All right, here's Mike Doran again. Look at this. This guy's leaning down. Captured in 2001. Let's bring this up. This goes to your blog post, man, about old cameras. Us kind of poo-pooing them. These images was created in 2001 with a Canon D30 and a 300 millimeter 2.8L 3 megapixel camera. And he was told the camera was not good enough to photograph motorcycle racing. I think I proved them wrong. Look at that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I love that. I love the
3
panning
megapixels.
And the motion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see some telltale signs of cloning, though. You see it down at the bottom?
Yeah, not just some. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. It looks like there was probably like a sign or something there. He tried to get out of there.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to clone in, is an area like that where you have all this texture and the texture has a pattern, which means you can't just remove it somewhere because our brain says, oh, this line is being interrupted by this blob. And it's immediately obvious to see. I mean, I think it would be better if you just cropped up from the bottom and took out, cropped out whatever was there.
I wonder why he didn't, because that seems like, I mean, there's a lot of space in there. Even if you, like we always say, if you left that space in there for copy or something, you wouldn't want to put copy over that kind of cloning, right? You just want to crop it out of there, get rid of it completely.
Right. But I mean,
it is a good example of, how outdated cameras can do awesome things in the hands of somebody who knows how to use them. So,
right.
Man, look at that. Is that a spark coming off of his knee?
I don't think it's a spark. I think it's
That's just the kneecap. Okay.
Yeah, just the knee, like the
protector.
The pad. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, makes me want to ride. It makes me want to ride. Did you take your bike out and ride it? Your motorcycle?
No, not
gathering
yet.
Dust. Look at you, Fred Sanford.
I want to.
All right, Mark Harris, and he says, in past TWiP Pro critiques, you and I have commented that his bodyscapes might look interesting with a figure placed in there. Okay, yeah, so a friend of his agreed to do it. He controlled the lighting. These are 2 Nikon speed lights, and controlled the creative lighting system from Nikon to give the stage look. They're performing Swan Lake with a child swan blowing down the queen. Also provided a way to cover the model's navel. That's awesome.
There you go. That's what you've been asking for.
That's awesome. I'm asking for this and you're asking for black and white, right? That is cool. And I see the navel too. That is cool. See that? I never, until I read that description, which is, you know, an argument for reading the description, I wouldn't even put it together that was a human underneath there. I don't think I would have put that, because I would have been too focused on the ballerina figurines.
That's great. Well done. I like that. I bet that took a while to set up. I don't think that's like an easy, like, oh, we'll just put these here, because some of them are leaning and they got like little suction cups maybe, or
yeah. I wonder if we glued them on there. They got to be on there with something, because the model's laying there, you know, I'm sure for an extended amount of time, breathing. So, you know, that would have been an interesting sort of little video clip of all the ballerinas just sort of moving up and down as the model breathes.
You just get weirder and weirder.
Hey, that's what it's about, man. It's creativity. You know, we're creating worlds. You know?
No, this is true.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool. I like it. It's very creative. Very
good job.
Very good. I like it. Mark Harris, breaking the boundaries. All right. Next one is another one from Mike Doran. AMA Superbike test early 2005 with a Mark II-N and a 300mm f2.8 lens. Did you shoot with that camera? Did you ever have that?
I did not. No. I mean, I played with the 1Ds that my buddies had, but they're Canons. They fit weird in my hand. They're not meant for me.
Yeah.
So
you gotta have grown up with a Canon to love the Canon, right? Same with Nikon.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing. I have edited lots and lots of Canon files though, because I had a lot of guys that would shoot with me. That we do weddings and stuff. They'd be my second shooters, and they would photograph with me.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with the files, but I don't mess with the cameras.
Yeah.
So
and I grew up photographically in the Air Force, and the Air Force is standardized on Nikon, so Nikon's in my blood too. And the heft of the camera and just the feel and the fit and finish has always fit with me. Versus Canon, it was always us versus them with Canon and Nikon. So
yeah, friendly rivalry.
Yeah. Sometimes not so friendly, because people get religious about their camera gear, as we know, right?
Yep. They can get bent up. Ugh. But regardless of what gear you use, right? It's the tool that captured this image. And I think that, again, Mike has done an exemplary job of capturing fast moving horsepower.
Yeah.
I love that.
How he does this, because this is just crazy. Like, I know if I went out there, I mean, I'm sure, like anything else, you could learn it over time. But initially, when you go out there and you try to capture something like this, it just feels like you just come back with a memory card full of crap. And you're like, okay, well, this one is kind of in focus. And I just feel like Mike would go out there and come back with a memory card full of shots like this, and just make you just like crawl into yourself and go hide in a dark corner.
Well, but part of it is knowing and being able to predict the movement of your subject. So whether it's a bride or it's a motorcycle or a car or a space shuttle launch, whatever, you have to, to do the job the best you possibly can, you need to be able to know, oh, this is what's going to happen on this turn or at this moment. So you're prepared. So, you've got the camera set up for it. So he obviously knows that. I dig this. I like the light in his face. The wheels are spinning very much like I think some of his previous imagery. He's definitely got that dialed.
Yep. I love it. Good job, man. One day I will shoot like this. All right. Moving right along. We are on Michael Rhino. Look at this. Taken recently during a very windy morning hike and Rocky Mountain National Park with a Nikon D750 Tamron 24-70.
Man, if that was infrared.
Oh, come on, system, load it. Hold on. For some reason, it doesn't want to load. All right, we'll have to look at it like this then. Huh. Yeah, I was trying to make it go full screen for some reason. Is it going full screen on your side if you click on the image itself?
Yeah.
It does?
Yep.
Maybe me then.
Yep, looks good.
Image cannot be loaded, it says. Huh, interesting. All right, well, let's look at it. This. When I was looking at this shot, I thought Ansel Adams, that kind of feel. Whenever I see these kind of shots, Ansel Adams just sort of put a flag in these kinds of shots, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This is great. I love the light falling on the mountain, you know, cascading across the mountain on the right hand side. It's kind of scraping across in there. It looks like it's probably, you know, later in the evening, earlier in the morning. You know, the valley is dark. That's really the only holdback for me, is that the valley and the river and stuff is so dark.
Yeah, it gets a little muddy down there.
Yeah, we can't really see in there, and you know, on a D750, there's plenty of exposure latitude. So, I would say if you're in Lightroom, just bring up the highlights and the whites and brush it into the lower quadrant of the image, and see, you know, you get a little bit more spark in there, you know, a little bit more snap. Yeah. But great composition, I love it. Great storytelling. I could almost do without the river. I think if we just cropped right to the bottom of the trees and just let it be the trees and the mountain and the sky, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. It's not really adding much, and you have to kind of hunt to realize that it's there. It's so dark down there. All right, Michael Rhino.
Good image, Michael.
Good image. Sorry I couldn't pull that up. Not sure what's going on. I'm going to blame it on Chrome. All right, Michael Kautz. Let's bring this one up. Yeah, that one came up. Let me read what he wrote here. Josh was working his addiction when I came across him. His search for money to score his next fix was all he cared about. For $2, I held his attention long enough to take a couple shots. He told me about his childhood in San Diego, wondered when it all changed for him. Before I could ask anything else, he was gone. All he wanted at that moment was his next escape. I can only hope he finds his way. Everything turns gray. Look at that.
Yeah, nice. And those are Everything Turns Gray is song lyrics. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a song title. I don't remember the band, but a lot of if you ever see Michael's images in here and he puts a title like that, just look it up, see if you can find what the song is. Maybe next time he'll put the band if that helps to find it, because it does matter. You know, it does make a difference. Like he has one image that he has. It's a Bro Hymn by I can't think of the name offhand. But that makes a difference, you know, in what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. You know, when you look at that image, it really helps.
Yeah, he's doing. Michael's doing like really powerful work, and when you know you look at his work, it just sort of tells you, you know, that it kind of goes to what you and I talk about in terms of story being attached to an image, and how the underlying story is important, can change things. Because, you know, most of us would probably never be this close to this guy, right? Looking at him dead in the eye like that, just sort of examine his face and just kind of get an idea of what he's been through and where he's going. And a street photographer like Michael stopped, gave him a couple bucks to get a shot, and boom, moved on. And now we have this shot that's kind of a glimpse into this guy's life at this point in time. So,
right.
Yeah, I dig that.
And I think maybe Michael can put it in here of how old this guy was, but I remember him telling me I think he was like his early 20s or something, like really young. Like I was amazed that it was as young as he is, you know, especially with that rough face.
Wow. Early 20s. Look at that.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Drugs.
Guy's had a life.
Yeah. Yep. Well, very cool. Michael, please keep submitting these, man. These are awesome. Very powerful stuff. And Everything Turns Gray. I love the idea of tying these mediums together, right? So being inspired by a soundtrack to sort of play along with what you were thinking with the imagery that you're creating. It's fantastic.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Peter Levshin is in the house. All right. Here we go. Capture this with his 5D Mark II. All right. Since you know Peter, I'm going to let you dive into this one first. Well, we both know Peter. But.
Yeah, no. This is a great emotional. I mean, it's got a great impact. I love that. I think the lighting is a little flat in her eyes. I think that's probably the way that Peter processed it. I know he really likes those muted tones, but the whites of your eyes aren't really that dark. So it would help. And then in this situation, if you have the opportunity, turn her body and her face into you just a little bit, so you get a little bit more white next to the pupil or the iris of her eye in her right eye. That just makes it feel more natural, so her eyes don't look one big and one small. But
yeah, that was my first initial impression as well. It just seems like it was a little bit low contrast for my taste. But beautiful image and beautiful model. I mean, gorgeous, and I love the look of her look. I knew you were gonna fine tune the pose.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you do. So it's perfect. But yeah, other than it being low contrast, what I think is probably intentional. I've seen Peter's work. It's not like he's constantly on the low contrast side of the scale. But just for my personal taste, I would love to have seen a little bit more pop in here. Those pearls should pop a little bit, I mean, maybe not, to an egregious degree, and her eyes as well. So those pearls in her eyes and her lips, are sort of objects that we kind of look towards to have a little bit more contrast to them, I guess. Right. And when you don't see it there, it just makes you question the overall contrastness of the whole image. No, I dig it. I dig it.
And Peter goes through phases. I think right now part of his phase is that dark muted tone. I think Peter, what you need to do, because I know you're listening to this, you need to show some of your Mars phase, some of your orange Mars phase. You need to show some of those images from Vietnam and China and stuff. And you need to post a couple of those just to, because I think it would be really healthy for people to see how extreme you can take a piece of art. And I dig them. Some of them are ridiculous. They're too orange or whatever, but some of them are brilliant. And you look at them and you're like, God, I never would have done that on purpose. Yeah. But now that you did it, yeah.
Love it. Cool. I love that Peter just has this mountain of images that he can pull from.
You have no idea.
I have a little bit of idea. Probably it's exponentially better than what I'm thinking, but that's so cool. Man gets around.
Yes.
This is also from Peter Levshin, Canon 5D Mark III with a 24-70 lens on it as well. Look at these rockers.
Yeah.
I just noticed a shot in the background. Look at that.
Yeah, which at first I was like, I don't really know how to take that, but actually it's kind of cool, right? Like there's a shoot going on and stuff like that. It brings
you into the scene. More than just this is a portrait that's sort of out of space and time. It kind of brings you in that, hey, this was a candid moment where you corralled these guys together, which I'm sure probably wasn't that easy, to get them to sit down for a minute, get everybody to sit down for a minute and pose while that action is going on in the background.
Right.
Not bad. Is that you back there shooting? That's not you.
No. No.
I like the colors as well. I like the normal color balance on the subjects in the foreground, and then we sort of have that wash of red in the background. How do you think that was done? You think it's because you could do it with like a gel on the lens, and then use a complementary color on the flash, so that everywhere the flash hits goes normal, versus wherever the flash doesn't hit stays the color of the gel. You think that was it, or is it simpler? Like there's just a red light back there.
I think it's probably simpler than that. I bet you they just had, incandescent lights in the room. And when you white balance for, say, a cooler light, like a general strobe, you're going to make the warm tones in the back, pop out more, I'm thinking. I don't know what they have there. I've never seen this studio, so I don't know what's going on, but I'm guessing that it was, they set up the band there, and then we're shooting under a different, like a softbox was probably right there or something. And then the light in the background is just ambient light.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Peter can let us know a little bit.
Yeah, Peter, chime in the comments there and let us know.
We do know that it's 10 minutes to 12 when he took this photo, or midnight, noon or midnight. We don't know. There's a clock in the top left corner. So.
Oh yeah, look at you, Mr. Attention to Detail. It's assuming that the batteries in that clock are.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Clocks are one of those things that I see everywhere all the time. It's like a TV. I'm always looking at it like, oh.
It's a clock, yeah. Especially in the shot. It could be either, middle of the night, middle of the morning, or it could just be broken.
Or it could be broken. I love that.
Broken, which would make it right twice a day, right? All right. Next shot is, very last shot from Craig Stampley here. An in-car shot from my recent Maserati shoot. I've tried this before in other cars, strapping a tripod down in the back seat area, and often the results can be a bit hit and miss due to long exposure in a moving vehicle. Happy most of the time. He's happy with his most of the time around. This 15 millimeter at a second at f11 with a remote release. Bring that up.
Wow.
Jeez.
You know, when this first came up, I was really confused because it looked to me like, like he wasn't driving, right? Like it looked like the outside of the front windshield was like a cove. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure that out, and then I noticed that there is a road, in front of us. So I'm assuming he's out driving. So
in a tunnel, it looks like.
Yeah, like in a tunnel or something with like tall walls. So that was just really confusing to me. I think that had this been out like with city, streaking by, it would have helped a whole lot. But maybe there wouldn't have been light coming into the car either, so maybe I'm thinking that he probably chose this spot for that. I love the interior shot. I just think this is just so cool. A little turn in the wheel, the navigator, the screen there and everything. I think that's, very well handled.
Beautiful car too.
Yeah.
You ever driven a Maserati before?
No.
No? You ever been in one?
Nope. No, I think the only sports car that I've ever driven would be a Corvette and a lot of older muscle cars, but I've driven lots of trucks. So no
Teslas?
Sports car.
What about a Tesla?
No, but I would love that.
I know, me too. I sat in one before. I've never driven one. One day, it's on the bucket list,
Yeah. No, this is a beautiful shot, well handled. I mean, a little overexposure on the dash. If we could bring that down, those little things can make a difference. But overall, I mean, the technical challenge for this shot is very well handled.
Yep, I agree. Well, cool. I think that's it. That's it for this run through. I think we went through all the shots.
Wow, we made it.
Look at that. Success. All right. And thanks everyone for submitting. This is a highlight. I don't know about you, Troy Miller, but this is a highlight of my week to sit down and go through this and get a feel for what's going on in the community and who's doing what and who's shooting what. We always have different stuff in there. Again, motorsports, portraiture, miniature this time, squirrels.
Yeah, we got a squirrel in there.
Squirrel.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff in there. So very good. And kudos to everyone that submitted for critique this time around. So FYI, I was talking to Troy before we started recording this episode, but many of you know I've been experimenting with some webinar software to do some live Q&A type things and office hours type events using a webinar platform. I think I've settled on one, and we're still going to probably do some tests first, but we may start doing these critique sessions live as well. So, we'll have a chat room going, and maybe at the end of our session, we'll do a Q&A where, folks can ask questions and bring their own opinions into our critique session. So
that would be cool. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Maybe the next evolution of critiques, right? So
yeah.
Why not? And then people can, ask questions and interact with us. And it's not just you and I nitpicking. We can use the power of the community to nitpick. Because they'll be like, well, did you see that? Or I meant to do that.
Yeah.
Numbskull. So.
Yeah. And then there's always questions like, why? Why don't you like that? I mean, a lot of times we'll point something out, but then there's not a dialogue about why that is troublesome or, would it look better a different way? Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be so cool. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm working that out now, really, really close on that. And we're going to be doing a webinar test this week, a full-on walkthrough to see how the system works and all that. But, we did. And thanks to the folks who jumped in last week when I did that initial test. We had a bunch of TWiP Pro members jump in and just, shoot the breeze for the better part of an hour. We were just in there hanging out, trying to stress test the webinar platform, and it held up like a champ. It did pretty good. Even recorded it. The system even recorded it, which I shared with you, Troy Miller. So
Yep, looked good.
All right, man. Any final thoughts? I know. One final thought is you agreed that after you had put some mileage on that Nikon mirrorless camera of yours, that you would come on and we'll do like a TWiP Talks full-on proper interview where you sort of disclose your results and your overall findings. If you're still sleeping with it and making your wife sleep on the couch, Is the love affair still happening between Troy Miller and his mirrorless system?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right, cool. Anything else happening with you that you want to share before we shut this one down?
No, I've started the blog on spicyjello.com under thoughts. So that's kind of new for me. That's neat, to kind of get sort of a brain dump, and I'm still kind of finding my feet for that. So that's been really fun. We're still planning an F-64 event in February. We're solidifying the plans, but I talked to Craig Colvin and Tim Engel already, and they gave me a thumbs up to be there. So, there's that. I did my last wedding yesterday, last wedding of the year.
Of the year, not of your career.
No, yeah, not yet. So that's kind of cool. It's neat to make it through the year. So that's fun. So
that's cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool, man. Well, we'll leave it at that. And we'll see you, I guess, next week, or maybe even later this week when we do, because I want to do that webinar test. So you and I can chat then.
We'll do it.
All right, man. I will see you later. And thanks everyone for submitting. We'll see you next time.
Yep. All right. Take care, everybody.
All right. Peace. This is TWiP.